Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching TV Asia. Today is Monday, and it's a long weekend in Australia, overall, in different countries also. And I would like to thanks to Dr. Bernard Malik, our senior analyst, and our senior analyst, Dr. Professor Grant Pitman. As you already aware that today Monday is holiday. Actually, Sunday was an Easter holiday. And before starting our program, because we are trying to provide the information, learnings for the young ones, especially when it is multicultural, multi-faith and multi-national country. Ultimately, we must understand each other. Being a Muslim, for me, it's very important to understand what is the Easter and what value of the Easter. So the good part is that I have a we call it father or priest from the Christian community, Dr. Bernard Malik, and people, very few people only know that he was or he is priest also, and he done the PhD in the religion interfaith. Dr. Malik, thank you very much, sir. Professor Pitman, thank you very much, sir. Dr. Bernard Malik, Easter, we just enjoy the Easter as a long weekend. But actually, we would like to teach and inform our kids exactly what is the value of the Easter and why we call Easter and how long it was, when it was started as a holiday.
Thank you, Mr. Zaidi. I think this is a very relevant question given today's holiday. There can't be any Easter without Good Friday. Many times, we as non-Christians don't get the meaning of Good Friday. So you find many times people telling you Happy Good Friday.
Right.
Good Friday, in fact, is the day when Jesus laid down his life on the cross.
Right.
So that is in secular terms, it is death of Christ that day or martyrdom of Christ.
Right. Right.
Interestingly, in Christianity, martyrdom is very important aspect of one's life. You give up your life for Christ and you go to heaven.
Right.
Christianity has had the most martyrs in the world today. Most martyrs today. Interestingly, you and me, we come from subcontinent, and we had Saint Thomas go to India, and he was martyred in Madras,
right,
modern Chennai. And there is, to this day, there are a lot of Christians that claim their allegiance to the preaching of St. Thomas.
Right.
Christ had 12 apostles. Out of 12, 11 were martyred.
Right.
Only one apostle who was John, who lived and died a natural death.
Right.
Interestingly, Christ's first apostle was Peter.
Right.
And Peter was also the head apostle.
Right.
And when he was martyred, he had attained the level when they wanted to crucify him.
Right.
And he said, "You cannot crucify me like my master. My master was crucified head up." He said, "Crucified me head down."
Right.
So he was crucified with the legs up and head down.
Right.
That was devotion to his master.
Right. Right.
So when Jesus laid down his life on the cross,
right,
it was written and prophesied before his life, his birth, that he would rise up the third day.
Right.
His resurrection or his victory over death is called Easter.
Right. Right. Okay. I think I'll get back to you. Ultimately, victory over death is called Easter, and what I understand that the Good Friday is a day is coming earlier than Easter, but actually in the history it's a later day than the Easter. Correct?
No. Easter is the day Jesus laid down his life. Easter is celebrated 3 days after that.
Right. So it's a link basically.
Rising of Jesus from the dead.
Basically on the same weekend. It's exactly the same weekend.
Correct. So
Friday and Sunday. Right. Okay. Let me move to the Professor Pitman. Professor Pitman, you also belongs to one of the Christianity branch, and honestly speaking, being a Muslim, it's an honor for me that I have two different kind of Christian with me, and I'm talking about the Easter, and I'm learning about Easter and about the Good Friday. And the reason for my learning that I believe that living in this heaven in the beautiful world where multicultural, multi-faith values are very much important, and to have a peaceful environment and country, we must understand each other. So exactly, I would like to come to you and ask about, okay, what is your opinion about the Easter, and does it has absolutely the same understanding, same value as Dr. Bernard mentioned, or there is something could be different?
I totally agree with Dr. Bernard. That's the reason we celebrate Easter, is to give recognition to the death of Jesus Christ and to his resurrection.
Right.
Quite often we acknowledge Christ by waving palms when he came into Jerusalem. The next time we'll meet him, we'll see the palms of his hands where the nails were imprinted. So Dr. Bernard's analysis or comments about Easter is how we celebrate, and we certainly like to hand out Easter eggs, spend time with our family, and more modern times, I think a lot of people go on holidays, camping, and do other things together. But my family tends to go to church and do some camping, and I'm afraid I'm not allowed to eat as many Easter eggs as I used to. So I've limited on the chocolate.
So why you've been you have to allow to eat eggs, and why we are giving the eggs on this day? What exactly the concept of the eggs? Is it life?
Some have different interpretations. Some see it as new birth. Chicken eggs and new birth
signifies
is one of it, and some see it as different interpretations. I just enjoy the chocolate.
And let me go back to the priest and say, sir, what is exactly concept of the egg? Just enjoy the chocolate, or it has some message also?
See, a lot of our religion is tradition. I would agree, Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, a lot of it is tradition.
Right.
Many times, things that become inseparable part of celebrations have nothing to do with this, with the actual day that you celebrate.
Right.
Right. So Easter and egg are two inseparable things.
Right.
Eggs have no significance to the Easter celebration, but it signifies life, and victory of Jesus over death signifies life that we get
right
from Jesus' death. That is why it is celebrated, but otherwise there is no significance. You can very well have an Easter without egg.
Right. Now, Dr. Malik, when do you think it is considered as an official holiday in this country, and mostly the country which I believe I like to inform to the audience and viewers that the countries those are mostly based on the Christian belief, they have the only holidays, or it is a holiday for every country?
Look, Easter is holiday in every country, even I think in Islamic countries, because it comes on Sunday. So any country that has Sunday as holiday celebrates Easter.
Right.
Now, issue is with Good Friday.
Good Friday.
Good Friday is considered a day pious or a day sacred to Christians. And many Christian countries, almost all Christian countries, celebrate Good Friday as a holiday.
Right.
Not HOLI, but HOLY, holiday.
Right.
And many countries which are not Christian also celebrate Good Friday because they were under the influence of British rule. So wherever the English went, they carried their holidays and their customs. In India, it depends which government is in power. If you get Congress government in power, they celebrate Good Friday as a holiday. Yes. And
so, if we talk about the Good Friday in Muslims, Friday has a very importance, and it's one of the important day for the prayer. And Good Friday, we get always a better chance to gather more and more, because Friday is not a holiday. So exactly on Good Friday, because normally the Christian church are serving on the Sunday. So this is the only Friday where the church are serving and people are attending for prayers? Good Friday?
It goes back a little longer than that. There is something called season of Lent.
Right.
Lent is 40 days of fasting.
Right.
So in that 40 days of fasting, it differs. There are so many denominations in church, as you know.
Right.
And depending on which denomination you are, mainline denominations hold every Friday during Lent, that 40 days before Easter, as sacred Fridays. So
Right.
you find them having special prayers. They celebrate something called Way of the Cross.
Right.
And Way of the Cross, they actually try to relive the journey of Christ to the cross from the place where he was arrested.
Right. So, Professor Pitman, you've been, you already mentioned that for the Easter you are visiting the church for prayer, but did you been for the prayer on the Good Friday, or Good Friday is considered as a holy day at home, at your LI day?
Probably a slight variation on Dr. Bernard. We certainly recognise Friday as the death of Christ. Our church probably spends more time on the resurrection, that he's alive and he lives, and that we'll be resurrected. So we probably put more of the emphasis on the Sunday component, but we still acknowledge his death at the hands of Romans and of his own countrymen in certain instances, and we certainly recognise the stories of Christ and his suffering prior to his crucifixion. We recognise his triumphant entry into Jerusalem almost a week before, and the series of events that occurred up to his crucifixion. So, like Dr. Bernard Malik, we recognise and have an appreciation for the history behind what happened. Our church generally holds its general conference, so we have an international conference over Easter. But because it's in America, we can't sort of watch it because it's at different times. So we go to church.
Dresses, visiting family, having some food, fun, and pray partially.
And now he changed a bit. Now he started doing Punjabi dance bhangra.
Right. That's a big success. So in fact, multicultural transmissions. Yes.
I don't mind the Punjabi dancing. I saw some the other day. It was very nice.
Yes.
We have extended family camp. We certainly go to church and remember the Saviour, but we have about 109 relatives who are alive, and the camp, although a lot of rain this year, we had about 80 attend the camp, and half of them are children, so we provide entertainment for the children, including Easter egg hunts, a recognition of Christ whilst we're there. We certainly have a lot of food. I think the children eat most of the Easter eggs. I didn't see any this year. So it tends to be a family activity. Australians have sort of got into camping more in the last 2 or 3 decades, with four-wheel drives and camping equipment being much cheaper now. Many people go camping, but the rain probably put a little bit of a damper on it this year.
Right. Dr. Bernard Malik, celebration. Ultimately, it is nice to have opinion on these things from Dr. Bernard Malik also. Dr. Bernard Malik, when we talk about the celebration on the Easter holiday, ultimately you have extensive knowledge, and plus the movement you from India to USA to Australia, and then connected everywhere. Exactly. So first, we would like to know that exactly what the celebration mean. It's only, as the Professor Pitman mentioned, conference and just meeting, or is something different?
They don't want to. Their church has too much money, and the only reason they're rich because they don't want to spend it. We are not very rich. We just spend it. We celebrate. We find every little reason to celebrate. Anyway, when it comes to celebrations, and in terms of its sacredness, Easter is way more important than Christmas.
Right, right. So it's a big statement. Easter is way more important than a Christmas. Yes.
Yes. The birth of Christ, that is Christmas, would have no religious significance if Jesus did not die on the cross and rise again. So we receive the salvation by his rising, not by his birth.
Right, right.
That is why this is way more important. But in terms of its cultural and social celebration part, you know, Christmas is celebrated by everyone.
Absolutely.
Christmas has become a kind of a social festival. Easter is still debatable in terms of its celebration and significance. But yes, Easter should be a bigger celebration time than Christmas.
Right. Dr. Malik, again, this is my interesting topic, and I always try to understand and learn because I believe, for me, I believe that good religion follower is must be a good human being, and that's I always find out Dr. Malik and Professor Pitman also that, and I like to understand. Dr. Malik, you just talk about eggs, the values, the culture, the celebration. In Muslims also there are different concepts or different things which are happening, and people believe that it is only because of the culture, or maybe some Muslim move from the India, that's why they have this culture. Actually, it's not in the religion. However, my understanding with this one, that whatever you are trying to do with this cultural values, actually it is trying to connect with the religion. So coming back to the egg or similar kind of things, celebrating, talking, meeting the families, everything, it basically reminds kids about the day, and maybe it is a good chance to share the stories. And like we talk now, we talk, maybe you talked yesterday also. Do you think that these things which move with the culture to country different has again an importance in the belief in the religion?
Yes, absolutely. See, when you look at the origin of Islam and Christianity, they both originated in the same area.
Right.
Middle East.
Right.
So we carry the same heritage.
Right.
We are known as people of the book. You know, Christianity, Islam. We have same father in faith. We have same forefathers when it comes to the explanation.
Right. Right.
The way celebrations and the customs differ is church after 1968. In 1968, church, the dominant church, Catholic Church, held a big council. They call it Council of the Church. 1968, they held Vatican II.
Right.
In which they emphasized, now earlier the prayer used to be only in Latin. So priests used to pray in Latin, the mass used to be in Latin. They said, no, we go towards the local vernacular. We go towards inculturation. That's a term they came up, inculturation. So in India, you will find people wearing sadhu's color.
Right, yes.
Right? I do not know about Pakistan, but in Pakistan, you will find, or you should find, let's put it this way, nuns, the sisters, wearing local pajama and kurta, the girls' dress.
Yes.
In India, they have switched over to sari.
Right.
So they can identify themselves with the local culture and feel better and share the knowledge of Christ. They are not considered foreigners. Right. So that is the aspect of different customs and cultures. So they begin to adapt. If you look at Christmas, if you look at Easter, they owe their heritage and the history to Roman festivals. So Easter is considered festival of sun. That is how all the Christian festivals have come. That is how I'm sure all the Muslim festivals have come.
Right.
They were celebrated by local people.
Right. Professor Pitman, Dr. Bernard Malik explained a lot, and I think he linked tradition, culture, and religion, and that's why, and in different country, what impact it has. Ultimately, it's easy for us to understand if it belongs to India and Pakistan. But in Western world, do you think there are also few things which is basically a part of the tradition, but because it's linked to the religion, it helps religion to promote and to understand by others?
I think here in Australia, probably in the last 40 or 50 years, with a lot more migrants coming in. I'd never been to a Muslim dinner until about a decade or two ago, and I didn't know what it was like to eat goat meat. So I learned that goat meat tastes very similar to sheep. I certainly have a professor at my institute who's Professor Singh, who's from the Sikhs. I didn't know much about turbans before, and he's got some very attractive turbans, and I didn't realise the colours mean different things. So I've learned a lot about that. I didn't understand the Hindu values, that they have a series of values that they support. So I've learned more that we have probably more in common than we have differences.
Yes.
The dilemma we face in our society is we don't recognise the commonalities. We often throw rocks instead of become rock catchers. So I think there's a lot of commonality, and that's probably the base we should work off.
Right.
If I say, I think,
yes,
basic controversy, there is a spiritual part of the religion and there is a commercial part of the religion.
Right, everywhere, yes.
Correct. Spiritual part of the religion is whether it is Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, or any other religion. Only soul goes to heaven. Your beard doesn't go to heaven, the suit, your turban, the way you dress doesn't go to heaven. But we are so kind of obsessed with the idea of our identity that we put so much emphasis on how we look instead of how we are.
Right.
Are we pure before God? I think that should be the message of every religion.
Right.
Now, a Muslim wears a turban, but he wears a different turban. So he's considered Muslim. If I wear a turban like Harvinder does, Professor Harvinder, and have a little beard, I'll be considered Sikh.
Sikh, yes. So basically, you are actually, it's true that when you have the get-up, you are considered without talking, without discussing anything. Professor Pitman, you mentioned about Jerusalem, and again, as I told you, it's my interested topics. So when we just mentioned about the Jerusalem and Jesus arrived. So Jerusalem is a homeland for Jewish and Christian and Muslim same time. So do you think that being a Christian, you believe that it is only for the Christians, or there is no issue that if other party also claiming and praying there?
Oh, look, Jerusalem's been a land that's owned by many different religions, and I think it should be accepted. I take Dr. Bernard's comment that probably more blood has been spilled in Jerusalem over religion than anywhere in the world. And quite often the Jews call it the navel of the world, or the center point. But essentially, we're all related. My ancestral tree shows on a couple of lines, I go all the way back to Adam. So I happen to be related to you and Bernard by birth anyway.
Which Adam are you talking? Same Adam? You have different one?
No,
same Adam. And my lines actually go back through Abraham. So I'm interconnected to my cousins who are of the tribe of Ishmael, the Arabs. So I'm related to them. I'm certainly a Farad person and have come through the British area, but our lines all go back to the same roots. So we're the same roots of the tree. We just have different arms on the tree, different branches now.
Why is that I look more handsome than you are then?
Yeah, I will check the handsome level of handsome with Dr. Malik. Before moving to Dr. Malik, he just Professor Pitman mentioned about the lineage going back to the Ishmael. And I like to inform or share from our side also that in Muslims also, we believe also that we are lineage from the Ishmael also. So you are absolutely right that
Abraham is our father in faith.
Father in faith. Dr. Malik, lot of bloods in Jerusalem. Does when you struggle a part of religion, I personally believe it's if you're following a clean and good pathway, you always face the difficulties, hard time, and then you have to sacrifice. It is happening now also, it happening there also. The sacrifice that day, these days were different. In these days are different. If you, Professor Pitman or me, I'm still moving and still keeping the religion together. What do you think that the following religion is a hard pathway and you are going to be sacrificed all the time in your life, or it's easy pathway?
Look, religion is very noble thing, and we all follow it. We derive a lot of strength from it.
Beautiful.
In fact, I was talking yesterday to my little girl. We were talking about, and she was asking me, Daddy, what did you do? I was telling her how there was a church in our village, and then it was on the way to school.
Right.
Every morning before you went to school, you stopped by and said hello to Jesus in church. It's not like Jesus is confined to that church. Jesus is everywhere. But for our mental satisfaction, you drive some boundaries.
Absolutely.
Right? And that is where we go wrong. It is unfortunate that all the founders of major religion, wherever they are born, their birthplace is part of major controversy. And though Christ came with a message of peace, don't fight. If you remember, Jesus is the only person who said not eye for an eye, but if somebody slaps you on the first one side, turn the other side too. Right? But his birthplace is full of controversy. There's no peace there. Lord Rama, Ayodhya. He was born in Ayodhya. Ayodhya has never had peace. All the time fighting. So somehow we who are responsible for ensuring what needs to happen are the ones that create controversy over nothing. You know, I may have differences with other religions, right? Which is okay. I may have difference with other denominations, which is okay. But I have no right to claim that my Christianity is more superior than your Islam or Dr. Harry's Sikhism or something like that. No, that is when the controversy comes. One should be happy to accept, okay, I am Christian, you are Muslim, somebody else is Sikh, and somebody is Hindu. It's okay, we fine, let's live together and carry on. We shed so much blood because we want to say that, you know, Jerusalem, that little piece of land, is very holy to us. It's fine. Accept as Muslim. Yeah, it's holy to Christians because Christians think they are believe. Christians should accept, okay, it's holy to Islam, which is fine. Now, why there has to be so much controversy over it, so much bloodshed for no reason? So I take a broader view of religion, that yes, Christianity is very religion to me, very, very dear to me, because it's my religion, but so is Sikhism because it belongs to my wife. My wife is Sikh.
Right.
Her religion is very dear to me.
Right.
Right. So is yours. You are my friend. I don't have a problem with you. Whatever way you want to, you know, observe your prayers. The other day you sent me your picture and saying praying for a friend. If that is what Islam is teaching you, I should be Muslim. Because my religion teaches me same thing. I pray for my friends. So there is no controversy. We have to see the best that is available among us. Differences would be there, okay? But we have to live with our differences and appreciate what is best, and also appreciate that it's soul that goes to heaven, not our bodies, not the worldly possessions, not the church, not the land of Jerusalem.
Right. I will come back to you. Ultimately, I'm really enjoying, and I believe my viewers also enjoying the talk. It is important. Because I have different summary on and different take on this topic. Professor Pitman, I just asked Dr. Bernard, and he discussed about more about issues why generated and then different opinions. But do you think being a good religion follower in all the time, there was a different kind of sacrifice, people sacrifice their life, but in this time, do you think that still we are sacrificing time our values, and sometimes we sacrifice the success in this life because of the religion, but we still find out that this is the best way to follow it.
I think your comment is very, very good about sacrificing. We probably don't sacrifice our life. We may sacrifice friendships sometimes because of differences of opinions. We may sacrifice some of our values sometimes to deal with religion. And I think the changing nature of religion in society is impacting on our politics. It's impacting on our economy even. There's a lot of research which shows that as religious values wane, your economy wanes. I think the problems that are emerging in American and Australian politics, and perhaps India, I'm not sure, perhaps Pakistan, is that when people don't practice their religion, they lose focus on the core values which built their countries and their constitutions and their culture. And when they move away from that, they become self-centered in their values, in other words, their own personal interests. And I think one of the struggles in our modern society and in Australia, at the last census, I think it showed less than 50% of Australians now are connected to religion.
50%.
I think the last census in America showed that over 40% have moved away from religion. So if you don't have those as your core values, what do you have as your core values?
Right. So, Professor Pitman, when we are talking about 40% and 50% away from the religion, does you believe that the practices which we are following is not attractive to them, or ultimately there is a different mindset which is in the system always available? We call it third eye, and these eyes are always try to divide and rule the system. Do you think this could be a reason?
I think we live in an age, and history shows this, when we have great wealth and our youth and our young people take advantage of it, they haven't learnt to sacrifice the things in life that our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents had to sacrifice in terms of work and ethics and trying to create a living, and some might call it even surviving. And perhaps the wealth has brought less sacrifice in terms of core values. I think it's one of the core issues. I think the second one is the Jews always believed in scapegoats. And I think we're now in an age where we have thousands of scapegoats. These were goats who were sent out from Jerusalem with the blood of Christ on them to represent the sins of the world. And I think we use that as our momentum for accepting what's going on. We want more scapegoats for everything. And religion is considered one of those major scapegoats.
Right. Dr. Malik, I'm having a hard question, and I was waiting for your turn. Look, in religion, what I understand with my good friends like Professor Pitman, Dr. Malik, and many Sikh, I enjoy visiting Sikh church, and I just finished Sikh games, and I not find out, even though in fact I learned that this concept, I don't like to discuss about how the things were executed, but the only thing is the concept of wonderful, making a healthy society and healthy, but and how they executed. Dr. Malik, let's think. Okay, we agree for a disagreement. Let's say, okay, when we're talking about this one, in past, lot of sacrifice, lot of people has been killed with the name of religion. However, in these terms, I believe like that. Like Shoaib Zaidi was there, and he used the religion as a fight. Now we have Bernard Malik or Professor Pitman. They are still on the same concept, where they are making a religion to agree for disagreement and move on and understand each other and move on with what commons we have. Do you think this time people like those are still following their religion are doing the similar work but in a different form?
I think your question is very interesting from the point of view that now, with the new education in the West, there is a new wave going on where man is more important than religion.
Right.
What we do, we give religion more important than man. God came to save man. God did not come to save Christianity. Jesus did not come to save Christianity.
Right.
He came to save me
Absolutely.
as a man.
Right.
So the cult-like control of religion is diminishing now.
Right.
Where, okay, you are supposed to get up in the morning, whether you brush your teeth or not, you have to go to church, you have to pray 4 times, 5 times, you have to say your rosary. Those things are slowly diminishing. You will see this coming. Traditional Islam now, as it is coming down to liberal democracies, liberal societies, you see the truthness or the spirituality of religion is coming back instead of the cult-like phenomena under which religions were controlling human beings. That is why now you see in Australia, only 65% people believe in religion. But this society is very livable because the foundation of this society is Judeo-Christian values, which this 35% people don't understand what's the value system.
Right.
As Professor Pitman was saying, you get away from these values, slowly the cultural aspect of our society will be more dominant.
Right.
But the value-based living would become less.
Right.
But as you would see, human being is becoming more important than the religion.
Dr. Badali, if I stop you for some time, okay, if the man is getting importance, so do you think this might be a reason for losing a religion and the percentage coming down because man is believing that he is important? Then and we believe, let me put on my side only, I believe that a good man is always produced by a good religion. It could be Sikh, whatever the religion, Christianity, I don't, but I believe. So do you think that the man, if it's coming importance, then the percentage of religious people are coming down? It has any relation?
In my books, I don't care even if there is 1% Christianity or no Christianity at all.
Right.
Okay. I think it that way.
Right.
But what you see is my Christianity is not putting a big cross and putting a big sign out there, I'm Christian. My Christianity is I sit down before meals and I say, thank you, Jesus, for the food we have received. We finish our food and I tell the kids, okay, let's thank Jesus for the food we have received. Right. We pray before we go to bed and we pray when we wake up in the morning and say, thank you, Jesus, for good night's sleep.
Right.
But I'm not forcing my sleep or my prayer on you or on Professor Pitman. So for all practical purposes, I'm not Christian.
All practical purposes, you are not Christian. However,
practical purposes, I am not Christian.
Right.
My faith drives my life, but I don't do a big display of my faith.
Right. Okay. Let me add it on again on this one. Just for my viewers, that I had few time opportunity when I had a lunch or dinner with Dr. Malik, and sometime because in our system also we start praying something in the very lighter way, or sometime forget. But whenever I sit with Dr. Malik, however, he says that he is not a Christian, but I learn from him that whenever he pray, it reminds me my pray, and I try to practice it in my home also in the same way. Anyway, so this is a Christian Dr. Malik. Let me go back to the Professor Pitman. Professor Pitman, again, I think this is important, and I'm enjoying. Viewers also enjoying, and I'm receiving a lot of question, a lot of response from there. It is important. Believe me, I have still same understanding that the people in this era with the good religion are doing bigger work than in past. People are fighting with the swords and killing each other on the name of religion. Do you agree with this one, Professor Pitman?
Look, from a humanitarian point of view, not only do you have United Nations, but a lot of church groups pour in billions of dollars annually into the welfare of the world. My own church just announced $20 million to United Nations for vaccines for COVID. So a lot of churches are putting in huge amounts
the check to me.
And huge amounts of resources. Certainly, the Americans under Ronald Reagan did some research that showed that one of the reasons why America does so well is that a lot of its people put monies and their efforts into charitable work, which reduces the cost on the government. And perhaps that might be a solution or partial solution to some of our social welfare problems, is if we served each other a bit more and helped each other, there'd be less emphasis on taxes and trying to provide social security benefits.
Right, right. And when we talk about the rate of religion followers are coming down, do you have any idea what could be the reason of this one, or where it's a normal phenomena in the human history that the people are, changing a profile of these kind of trends are going down and then coming up? It's a normal, or there is some lagging from the system because of the lot of hates we have to each other. That could be a reason, or we are incapable to produce good information and good practices of place. Professor Pitman.
I think humans have an inbuilt light in it to be good generally and to serve others. And I think religions, whether it be Christian, Muslim, or any others, generally encourage those values that are built into us. And I think there are different times when people, particularly when they're in stress like flooding, earthquakes, fires and those sort of things, that side of service and helping each other comes to the forefront. But when times are plentiful and life's good, we probably forget our neighbour a little bit, and we probably need our good neighbour policy back again, where we look after each other and care for each other and make sure that, for example, I mow the Indian doctor's next door's front footpath for him, just because I like to mow another 10 metres. And I'm happy to mow his footpath. Saves him the time. He's a doctor and he gets to serve the community, and I get to mow his grass every 3 or 4 weeks.
Right. Dr. Malik, I believe it's your statement can be right that, okay, there is no reason, even though it's a 1% Christian, there is as long as you're a good man. Sir, by being a PhD and good follower, good religion follower, and a good father, a good community member, a good analyst, I would like to learn that why do you think in all religion, everywhere, in Muslims also the same issue, the youth are not connecting with the religion?
Look, that is a crisis currently within the church. If you see currently, your kids don't listen to the same music that you listen.
Right.
Possibly listen Ghulam Ali, they want to listen somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So church has not positioned, or the religions have not positioned, because they're so stuck within that, watertight compartment program, that they don't want to liberate themselves. If I want to talk to my son who speaks English only, I have to learn English to talk to him. Right. I don't carry on in Punjabi and expect my son to understand. So what religions need to do is they need to upgrade themselves a little bit. They need to adopt the new outlook. This is what I tell some of these people here, some of the churches, because we are religiously illiterate. When I say religiously illiterate, that simple.
Religiously illiterate.
We don't want to discuss religion. It's so sensitive topic to talk about. Okay, I'm not willing to accept that there is something wrong with Christianity. You are not willing to accept if there is something wrong with the approach your religion takes on a lot of issues. I'm not saying Islam, there is something wrong with Islam or with Christianity. There is no Islam. I see, look at you, and I think this is what Islam looks like. Right? You look at me and
for me also.
Yeah, you look at me and you feel, oh, this is what Christianity looks like. But my approach is considered Christian approach. Your approach and a lot of other Muslims' approach is considered by way Islam approaches. We need to liberate ourselves from the customs of our religion and practice the sanctity, the sacredness that religion provides. And that's the only way we can respond to the current culture of our youth.
Right. Okay. Dr. Malik, again, I have another cut. Youth, this is Dr. Malik. He's talking to his mom, and mom was very strong Christian religion follower. Did ever your mom told you hate Muslims?
No, my
No, why I'm saying, the reason is why I'm saying, because this is the traditional culture we bring from our forefathers, similar to me, because I believe that somehow we have very good value system, only the execution has a problem.
My mother, as I think I have discussed a lot of times, was very, very pious Christian. And she did not study. I sometimes think I can count myself as an educated person, but my mother did not study much. She probably studied up to third grade, or she was fourth grade dropout, and so she knew Urdu.
Right.
Okay, and all that she knew, she used that to read her Bible. She had to read Urdu Bible.
Right.
And whatever education she had, she devoted it to study God. I wish I had even 1% of Christianity of my mother, I would possibly go to heaven then. But we can never get close to the sacredness or the faith of our fathers and forefathers. And that is why we are here today, because we got great upbringing in faith.
Right. Okay. Let me get some comments from the Professor Pitman. Professor Pitman. Okay. I just put my case in the oven. Then I use Dr. Malik also as a stage. And now do you think that your parents were better religious human beings and good people than you, or and that's why Mr. Grant understands the religion system. However, coming back to the future generation, either it's from Muslims, from me, or from any religion, it is getting hard.
I think there's a couple of things starting to emerge more and more. My mother always told us as we walked out the door that we were children of God, we represented a church, and that the Pitman name was synonymous with being good. And so she always said, have you said your prayers before you go out? And on her tombstone it says, I pray for you in this life and I'll pray for you in the next.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mother was adamant that we represented God, we represented our church, and we represented our family when we went out the front door. I think religions are struggling with the youth. I belong to a religion that has a very strong group of youth, but even our youth are struggling. And perhaps there's probably a sense of focusing too much on fun and not enough on faith. And probably one of the issues that our churches face is that we've made our churches to be church-centric and family support rather than family-centric and church-supported.
Beautiful.
There's a different mix there. So we grew up in a family that was very family-centric, and we saw the church as a support to those principles. And I think, and I'm sure that the Islamic faith supports it, the patriarchal order will probably be ultimately restored at some point, and the matriarchs will be able to definitely tell us what to do in that order. So.
Right. I think today's show ultimately was planned to have some other topics, but because this is important, Dr. Malik, you earlier mentioned that we don't like to talk. However, we've shown in the past also, and we still for today also, we believe that we almost 45 minutes we talk on just one topic, that is Easter and Good Friday, and trying to understand. So I personally believe that there are good system in place, there are good people are in system, and that's why there is still possibility that we can agree for a disagreement. Dr. Bernard Malik, I'm always coming with bit hard question, and again, it's not because you are very soft person. It is because maybe you have a good knowledge. That could be a reason. Dr. Bernard Malik, okay, sir. No, let's leave the past, leave everything. Now, being a father and being a active community person and a good educated human being, what I should do, what you have to do, and what Professor Pitman or good parents has to do to keep the kids to understand the religion themselves and the others.
Look, it's very simple. Nowadays, people will not bother much as to what you say or I say. They look at what you and I do. So your kids and my kids will look at how you live your life, how you behave. It doesn't matter. You read, Holy Quran. As soon as you close it, you start conspiring about other people in the community. Your son or your little girl are going to think that it doesn't matter what is written in the book. At the end of the day, this is the way you live your life. So I think if we live good lives, our kids would be able to see that
Right. So
our parents practice what they study in the books.
Right. Last question, Professor Pitman. Same, being a father or system, and you already understand the reason. What we all together has to do to produce a strong, good society. For me, again, religion is must be there. I don't know. I can't live without it.
My wife and I have always believed that you've got to stand for something, and those values, in our case, are Christian values, belief in Christ and use of his scriptures, and our children often hear us reference that. I think the second thing is, as Dr. Bernard said, your lifestyle, obeying the commandments, following what God expects you to do. And I think the third thing is to serve your fellow men. It's built into your nature to encourage your children to help other people. And I have a fourth one. I encourage my children to learn more about their ancestors. Because if they understand their ancestors, they understand who they are as well.
Right. Thank you very much, Professor Pitman. Who they are, absolutely. That was today. Luckily, we started some informative session, and it become more informative for me and for my viewers. And I received very positive feedback from many ways. And again, I have two take out from this today, and one is Dr. Bernard Malik's talk. And he says parents like me or anyone else has to work on what they are doing. And then honestly, they will ultimately, if they are doing good part, their kids will going to follow the good part, and it's turning to a good religion. Similarly to Professor Pitman, and he says we should be family centered and church supporter, not the church center and family support, church center and family supporter. Ultimately, these two things has to be balanced. And the good practices. I personally believe, my viewers, that today topic was wonderful. I really enjoy, and I does not have very good understanding about a Good Friday and Easter. In the books, yes, is there, but when you talk about the people, you learn a lot. We discuss about many things, and I believe these kind of topic. This is the TV Asia quality. TV Asia always try. They don't like to create conspiracy unnecessarily. They don't like to do the politics on the politics. They would like to talk, and they would like to give to the community, because they believe that once you give to the community, you build a good community, and one day community will give back to you in terms of your children, in terms of your family, in terms of good, strong, healthy system. Thank you at the end, Dr. Ronali. Thank you very much, sir. It was difficult, but again, talk was wonderful. Professor Pitman, thank you very much for your time, and you were with us. It's over from Shoaib Zaidi. It's over from TV Asia. We will come back next Monday on the same time, on the same topic, with the same analysis. Thank you. Till then, it's a goodbye.